What's up, high levelers and Funnel Doc fam? Today, I am so excited about today's video. Everybody just blew up that AI prompt video on how to have an AI, that voice AI that would sell itself. But I kept getting people asking me, what about the actual workflows? If I wanted to build this out and make it active and make it so it actually could sell my AI, what workflow should I have and how would I build it out? Well, in today's video, I'm going to break that all down. I'm going to show you the custom fields you need, values, the pipeline to build it out, all the workflows you need, and trigger links and everything in between. It's going to be a great training. You're going to love it. And with that, let's jump inside today's video. All right. So let's go ahead and first jump into this little diagram I sort of built for everybody so you could see how the actual flow goes. First thing, you're going to have your customer call the AI agent. The AI agent's going to either at that point gather information and greet the user, or if the user wants to speak to a human anytime during the conversation, they can have them speak to a human. They're going to gather their first name. You can also amend this to have their full name. That's up to you. I just have first name for this. They're going to confirm their phone number. They're going to ask their business name, and they're going to ask the situation that they want to role play as well as their biggest roadblock. At that point, the agent's going to start the role play. It's going to ask all the questions, act like it's just whatever that business is. That's the cool thing about this AI. It doesn't matter the niche or the business. The AI will understand that and take all the data that it knows and be able to role play the situation. Now, there are extenuating circumstances, of course, like anything else. You would have to make that prompt more specific. But generalize, this prompt's ready to go. All you need to do is plug it into your AI, set up these workflows, and you could be selling your AI on autopilot just like that. So, next thing you're going to do here is the agent's going to overcome the objections. It's going to close the user, or it's going to schedule appointment. I mean, that's really the end goal. Now, it can, if it doesn't close your, see, we're going to add them to can't close. They're going to add them to a follow-up sequence and a nurture sequence. But the real objective of this conversation is either to close them, to get them to sign up right there. They're just so excited. Send me the invoice. I'm ready to sign up. Or to schedule a demo session or a sales call, whatever I call it, an AI impact assessment, with the person, with one of your sales staff, a human sales team, to actually close the deal, especially for higher ticket, it's like 5K or more. So you're usually going to have to get on a call. But sometimes the AI is going to do such a good job. People are going to ask what it is. They're going to tell them, and they're going to be like, send me an invoice. I'm ready to go right now. So if they decide that the agent closes it and they're ready to go, at that point, it's going to send the invoice. Once the invoice is paid, it's then going to send them to the SMS or the text message scheduling bot. The bot then is going to schedule them for their one-on-one onboarding session, and then they're onboarded and you're off to the races at that point. The next thing would be here where the agent actually schedules the appointment with one of your sales team. If it didn't schedule it, we cover that up here. It's also in the workflow as well as right here where we add them to a nurture. If they're not interested, we add them to a lost list. But if they're interested but don't close or anything, we want to nurture them. And then we have a whole nurture sequence. I'll show you how that's all set up in the workflow. If it's scheduled, we're then going to look at them. Did they show or not show? If they didn't show, we're going to reschedule and nurture them. If they showed, you're going to either close them or didn't close them. If they didn't close them, they're going to be closed not, or didn't close not interested, didn't close needs follow up, or obviously closed. And that is the entire workflow we're looking at, where customer journey, as you could look at it from start to finish, from where they call in, engage with the agent, and then is either closed, scheduled, or nurtured to hopefully close at a later date. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the actual sort of ideas now. I am building a dashboard. I didn't get that finished yet. I want to get the workflow part of this. There's so many people are interested, and I really decided, I'm like, let me just build this entire thing out, because originally is mainly focused on the AI and not on like if I really wanted to sell itself. So I was like, well, why don't I make it so it could sell itself? Um, you are going to need a sales team calendar. You are going to need a customer journey pipeline. I also have a active customer pipeline. This is for me. I track stuff later. This isn't part of the actual. Just take that off. That's not part of the actual build out. So let's take that off. These are the custom fields you're going to be tracking. Now you do have these first four here are part of the system, so you won't need to do that. You will need to add these bottom like 5 or 6 on here, and then you've got a custom values that tracks your no shows as well. And that's it pretty much for that. The next thing we're going to need, you're going to want to look at are your actual workflows themselves. Or well, let's actually jump into the bot itself. So you put in the prompt, everything's good to go. There's going to be only a total of 10 triggers, well, 11 if you count the follow-up workflow afterwards. The first one is if they want to talk to an agent or a human person, you're going to want to talk to that. The triggered workflows are going to be sending the invoice, scheduling the AI impact assessment, and then also noting that updating the status to demoed. Now, one of the things I have in here, as you'll see, is I've got basically like 5 different statuses per se. So there's a lead, which that's it. They just like called in, we got their number, but we didn't get anything else, or whatever. Somewhere in the pipeline they didn't actually demo. So we've got it marked as then they demoed. We got it marked as then they scheduled. Then there's show or no show. Then there's closed after that as well for the basic flow of the pipeline. And then there's follow up and nurture, and then lost are the last two. So you'll see in here, we go into it. We're going to get the first name, the last name, the contact email, the type of business, and the situation to role play. And those are all set up. And then the final one, this is important, and I'll show this workflow when we get to workflows here in just a second, is the update the status. Now, I did add into the AI that I wanted it to update these statuses right here. So, this is added into a new prompt. Let me know in the comments, or I'll just put it in the comments below, or put it in the comments if I can, or I'll add it to another link. But this is the updated flow. Add to an update status depending on the results of the call. Status choices are lead. User doesn't reach any of the other status levels. Demo, user perform the demo with the AI. Scheduled, user schedules, and that's the AIIA is what I call my AI impact assessment session. Invoice is sent. AI sent the user the invoice, but they didn't enroll on the call. And that's one of the things you want to check. I've got that workflow set up so that the workflows will know whether they paid or not. I'm working and still testing to know if the agent can. So that, I'm just being honest with you, that part's a little iffy to know if they enrolled or not. So I'm still working on testing that to see if the agent will be able to notice that. I did get from the devs that within the next couple weeks, custom values are coming. So once they do, I know we'll be able to have a custom value and just update that accordingly or something like that. So that will be cool. The next one is enrolled, whether they actually signed up on the call. The next one needs follow-up nurturing. User does enroll, but is still open to I just put open, but it should probably be, I just put open on that. So, but we'll just leave it open. The AI will know. And then lost, the user has no interest and doesn't want, this should be us messaging them again. So if the user's like angry, doesn't want anything, then that. And again, you want to refine this and play it with a little bit. I've gone through it probably after designing everything. That took several hours. I only went through it with a new prompt and everything a couple times. Worked fine. So good to go so far. The next thing we'll be looking at, we got our contact fields, we got all the triggers that we're looking at, and then we've got the update status. Again, that's going to update the status depending on that, and then it's going to send the contacts assigned user. The reason why I have the contacts assigned users to follow up, because we're going to assign a user in the workflow depending round robin, but when they schedule the appointment. So let's jump into the actual workflows. First workflow is just really simple. Their lead. And this is just so when the status changed to lead, at that point, I'm going to assign them one of the sales team. Now, these are just placeholder sales team. I like to apply this if somebody hasn't been assigned, because maybe they've gone through the system once or twice and you don't want them to keep getting reassigned somebody. So if somebody's been assigned, and you can have as many sales teams as you want. If you have a 10-person sales team, you have all people there, and then you could split it equally or unevenly. It's really up to you how you want to assign that. I usually go equally. So they're going to get assigned a person here, and then that person's going to get assigned a follow-up task that you've been assigned this person to follow up with them in 24 hours. And you could change that to whatever type of time frame you wanted. I just set it for 24 hours for this, but this is just for that person that comes in. Obviously, we'd probably only get their phone number, so this would be, this person would manually call them up or text them and be like, hey, we saw that you were at our AI demo yesterday. I just want to follow up and see if you're still interested. This is like your lowest, your coldest type of traffic right here coming into the system. So the next thing we've got here is demoed live voice AI. So this means they actually demoed it. This one, you'll notice the AI won't say the AI set up here to tag them. We've got they demoed it. It's going to update on the actual pipe. And this is the pipeline I've got here for it. So you've got lead, demoed AI, scheduled with sales, no show for demo, needs nurture follow up. Then we've got invoice sent. Now, normally I wouldn't put the invoices sent. I usually just go the next step would be like invoice paid is tracked. But in this instance, a lot of people will probably be sent an invoice that may or may not pay it. So they'll need to be followed up with it. So that's why here. Then we got purchased AI, not interested, which equals lost. And then we've got all the different workflows will move the person accordingly through the workflow. So you'll literally be able to see here how much opportunity you've got by, and I'm going to show you how to be able to track the value or cost of each one of these, see where they're at, see where people are getting stuck. You'll be able to adjust your workflows accordingly or adjust your engagement with them accordingly. And the great thing about having this workflow and to have it all completely automated where you don't have to move anything is it allows a really good visual representation of where everyone's at. And you'll see once I get the dashboard built out later, how great that will be to be able to have another visual representation of where everything's happening within this ecosystem. Because when you can identify that, that's when you come in, you can fix that problem, you can make it better, and then your systems becomes like optimized and automated, and then you're making money while you sleep. So back to the bot here, back to workflow. So the way this one's set up, you got them set up. They're going to wait 24 hours and they're just going to see, hey, did they buy or did they not buy? If they didn't buy, like we don't really care if they buy. I have other flows set up if they bought. The main one here is to know that they or to schedule a demo. If they didn't do either one, we're going to update them to nurturing. So for any reason they didn't schedule, again, this is 24 hours later, if they haven't been tagged as scheduling a demo or purchased, the two main things we're looking at, if they haven't already, we're going to add them to the follow-up. So this is just sort of like a fallback that I wanted to have to make sure that no matter what, they were getting added to the nurturing and follow-up system. And this is the nurturing and follow-up system that isn't appointment-based. I have two nurturing systems, one that's appointment-based that sends them a video every day, depending on how many days out they are from their appointment. And we'll talk about that later when we get to it. And then this one would just adds them to a workflow, and every 24 hours they get a new nurturing based email. So after we've demoed the voice AI, the next step is we either want to sell them or schedule them. So let's say we schedule them now. The next thing we're going to have here is the link. Now, this is one of the workflows that's in the actual AI itself that triggers. This is where it sends a link to the actual user and asks them to schedule an appointment. And it says that this is from an assistant. That's how I've got it written up. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have my assistant send you a link, and they'll take over and schedule the appointment. Let me know if you have any questions. So this is the link that's sent out to them, or the workflow that is triggered when that happens. So there's no actual trigger. Again, this is happening on the voice AI side. Now, I wanted to use conversational AI on here because if for any reason they have questions or want to engage with the bot or anything, I don't want to just leave this open to a if else statement for a positive or negative because it wouldn't make sense and just keep looping and ruin the whole experience. So that's why I'm using conversational AI here, and you'll say, hi, my name is Molly. I want to confirm that you wanted to schedule an AI impact assessment with one of our team members. It's got all the usual stuff that's set up underneath there. Now I've got two of the same thing here. If no conditions met or timeout, it says, sorry, I didn't get that, waits for a reply, then goes back to here. It says, sorry, I didn't get that, wait for a reply. If they say no, that they don't want to schedule, then it's like, no worries, have a great day. If they do want to schedule, it then hands this off to the next conversational AI bot that's asking for their email. Can I please update your best email so I can send you notifications and update for your appointment because they want to schedule? So again, if they give the user's name, I'm going to send them to the next workflow that takes over, and then that is the AI bot that will schedule it as text messages. But again, this is all fluid, so the user doesn't see it all. Now, if there's no condition met or they timed out, it then says, hey, could you please repeat? I didn't get that, waits for a reply, and then, of course, does the go to loop again here. where it comes back to the conversational AI and goes to where they're actually trying to schedule the appointment. And then once they do that, then they're going to go to 3A. Now you'll see here, schedule AI demo with staff. Now this is going to assign them one of the sales team staff members. And again, there's no trigger because this is handed off by the actual workflow itself to this workflow. Then you're going to see right here, it's not going to say anything. It's already confirmed that they want to book and all that. So the next question is going to then hand off to the conversation bot that's going to demo to set up the appointment with the staff, with the sales team. Now, if they time out, it's going to ask them if they wanted to reschedule, and then ask for yes or no. If they say no, it's going to say no worries. If they say yes, it's going to say go to there. If they none condition met, it's then going to do the same loop again. It's then going to say, hey, sorry, I didn't get that. Did you want to schedule? And then it's going to add a little yes or no, because before it left it open and maybe they didn't reply with a positive or a yes or no statement or intent. I have it set up for where they'll know if it's a yes or no intent. So if you go right here, you'll see yes or no. You'll come in and it asks for the positive intent type or negative intent type, which is cool because then they can answer in any way they want. So it's still AI-ish, and then the computer will recognize whether it's a positive intent or negative intent. And then if for some reason they're saying something that's really in left field, we've got the follow-up where it's, hey, I didn't get that. Could you reply? And then it gives them a yes or no. So it's a little more specific. And then it's the same thing. No worries. If none of the conditions met. Now you could again go again with a sorry I didn't get that. I left this open for you. If there's any positive, then of course they all go back to the bot. Now, for the bot to be booked. Now you'll see here if the appointment is not booked, it's booked. It's then going to do the same basic workflow again. Did you want to schedule? No worries. Hey, follow up. Okay, that type of stuff. So either way, if they don't schedule, it's going to confirm twice to make sure that they don't want to reschedule. Well, once to ask them if they don't, and then if they don't get it, it follows up one more time, and then if it doesn't get it, just end the sequence. And then you could take off again if you wanted to go somewhere else with that. Just at that second step for no condition, just wherever you want to go. Now, if they do book, they're going to get assigned one of our team members that's one of our sales team member. And you see that I've got this set up for equal distribution. And it should be right here. Let me update that. For only unassigned. I like to put that a lot of times just because you don't want it switching out your sales team, potentially, or maybe you do. I don't know how you run your business, but a lot of times I like once someone's assigned a team member, they stay with that team member. Then they're going to get a confirmation email. They're going to get an SMS. It's going to be like, hey, check your email. You got info about your appointment in there. It's going to update the opportunity. And then they're going to add this to the client's contact information when their appointment date is. Now, a lot of times you wouldn't need that, but in certain workflows you're going to see later, because it's not in an appointment workflow, I can't as easily pull out that date, but this allows me to do that. I'll show you all about that later when we get in the next one. So that schedules their appointment using AI. What happens is it sends the user on their phone, whoever was the person that was the sales staff. It sends them a text message and it shows this. It says it sends a text message. It says, did they show or no show? And then depending on what they hit is the trigger link that would pop up this message on their phone. So if they selected no show, appointment status has been updated to no show will then appear on their phone. And because that has happened, it then triggers the did they show or not show workflow. So this is all depending on what trigger link they clicked, show or not show. So, and you can see this is a little extensive here. Let's zoom in here. So we've got the trigger link show or not show, and then it really fires. Now, the major thing we're tracking here is did they not show? If they show, then there's other workflows that take off with that, and if it doesn't meet the condition, we don't care. But the first thing is, then did they show or not show? And then the first thing it's going to do is check the number of shows. Registers the number amount of shows. Now, if they've got 0 underneath their shows, it's going to go to right here where it says number of shows equals to 0. It's going to then see right here, it says 0. So And because of that, it's then going to add one to the number of shows. So then that has for their own number of shows in their contact field, number of shows. It's one of the contact fields that you'll see on the form that I show you. We'll update all together at once. Or I would do all the contact fields at the very beginning. Hopefully, I said do that. Then you're going to update it. It's going to update the number of shows. So now that number is going to go from 0 to 1. They're going to get an SMS saying, "Hey, it appears that you missed it. It appears that you missed appointment day. Did you want to reschedule?" It's going to wait for a reply. We're then going to run through the yes no deal here. If they say yes, it's going to go to the appointment booking bot, which is going to schedule them. If they say no, no worries. If they say anything else, it's then going to ask them to reply with a yes or no. So we've got that. And then it does basically the same thing. If they have a 1 there, that means they've already missed once. They go down the second workflow. Here's the third workflow. If fourth and then above would go here. But if you wanted to add more, all you need to do is duplicate a workflow for that. I probably wouldn't give people more than 2 or 3 times, but that's really up to you. So once you're all happy with that, so then we've got here, we asked, did they show? Now we're going to follow up with one of 2 nurture series. So if they didn't show, you'll see in the didn't show series, they get added to this nurture series for this is they scheduled. You see it says scheduled on it. Now, the cool thing about this is it's going to go in, and because remember we saved that custom value for their appointment, now we're able to pull in whatever their appointment date is and work a little magic because of that. Now, I've got these all set to wait for before X amount of days. So this one's set for 5. And then what it's going to do is if for some reason this criteria is met, it's already past 5, then it's going to skip to 4 to wait for 4. And then 4, and then you'll see the cool thing is here, 4 is set to wait for 4 days, but if this criteria is met, to skip to 3. So this allows you, and it's got a specific nurture email for day 5, for day 4, for 5 days away, 4 days away, 3 days away, 2 days away, 1 day away. And then the day of course, is on the appointment scheduling. But this allows you for a time sensitive nurture series to go out. So if they happen to register and there's 2 days away, then it's going to skip all the way down and then it's going to get to right here and then it's going to get 2 days before. It's going to be like, oh, we're at the 2 days before part, and it's going to send out that nurture email, and then they'll send out the 1 day before, and then the etc. So yeah, that's really cool. That's set up. But if they for some reason didn't book, didn't book, then what you would have is they come here and you can see here not scheduled. And this is your typical nurture series that's day based. It's going to go off for I believe I have this set up for like 10 days. And every 24 hours it goes off. And this is a whole email series I've already put in there where it's got all the different stuff. So it's templatized. So all my nurture series. So depending on what their questions are, how they answered, it's going to pull off that. I'm even thinking about potentially adding emails in here that all are all AI written, depending on how they answered and stuff like that. Let me know if you like that. Write the emails with AI in the comments if you want, and I'll add that step in here and I'll show you how I do that. The next thing here is send enrollment invoice. So during the AI conversation, one of the workflows that can trigger by the AI is the person decides that they want to enroll and they're cool with the price. Send me the form. So I've got the invoice is sent. Now I have made an invoice template that's set up that has the AI price on there for what we charge to build out a basic FAQ scheduling, like basic type bot, not basic, it's still advanced, but not super crazy, which is 5K. So that's already set in here. So it's going to tag that, send the invoice, and then it's going to send that invoice out to them, which you'll see this is a template that we pulled in here. And then you've got your invoice, and it's assigned to your sales team member. And then you got here, it updates the opportunity to invoice sent. Then it's going to wait for 24 hours, and then it's going to add them to did they pay. So now that we got through all that, and we had them added from the other workflow, we're going to see did they pay. Now that's the reason why we had them wait for that 24 hours. Is like I said, maybe they did, maybe they didn't pay the invoice. You never know, but we want to check, and potentially you want to follow up and remind them, be like, hey, you need to pay that invoice. We want to get started. And you can adjust these emails. Their setup is nice, but they're templatized. They're generalized. Hey, you didn't pay. Give us some money. Here's how much you owe. That type of stuff. You can always go here and change these whatever you want. So the first thing we're going to do here is check, did they pay? And if the status is set to paid, which is how we have it set up right here, you'll see status is paid for the invoice. Then it's going to go down here. Anything else, it's going to go down this way. We're going to send it, and it's going to be like, hey, you didn't pay. Because if they did pay, they would have said here. If they did pay it, then they get added to the next one, which is B, and we'll show you that in a second. Again, this is why I like to connect them this way, either being handed off via workflow or triggering off like contact information is updated or something like that, versus having these 300 big, long, crazy workflows that are maxed out that, like, when something breaks, you can't ever find it. This allows for when something doesn't work, you just track it really easy. Oh, it's in here. There's only 3 or 4 different actions that you have to check versus 300 or whatever. So then they check to pay. You're going to wait 24 hours. It's going to check again. Did they pay? If they got paid, then it's going to, again, do the same exact thing. Boom. And if you wanted to, all you need to do, if you wanted to add a third day in there, you could come in here. You just click right here. You go copy these actions. And then you're going to go, okay, what are the workflow? This is the didn't pay section. And you just hit copy right here. Matter of fact, I'll do it. And now you've got another 24 hours and didn't they pay section. Let me update this for you guys. So there you go. Now it's up to 3 days. But, it's really up to you. And if you want to extend these out, maybe you want it to be 3 days instead, instead of 24 hours, all you do is change these bad boys. Super easy to do. So once they purchased, we're going to then either be a handoff, if they show up as purchased, or they actually track to if they purchase. And I left this open this way so it can either be handed off from the other workflow or they can purchase themselves. And you can see this is a pretty decent workflow. We've got order form, you've got the invoice, in case you're using order form on what later on I wanted you to be able to trigger off this as well. You don't want these to be just off of your AI. You want to have your voice AI, you want to have a complete ecosystem. So then you've got tag purchase, thank you email, you've got check your SMS, you update your opportunity, and then they get sent the text for the onboarding for the voice AI. So for once they've purchased, now they're going to be sent here. It's going to schedule them to onboard with your team. You're going to see this is now a little bit different because it sets them up to schedule with an onboarding team member once the appointment was booked. If they booked it, it's going to update their appointment is scheduled. If they time out, it's going to do the typical thing. Did you want to schedule? Then it asks them going through, asking multiple times, did they want? If they say no, it's asking them if their appointment is not booked, did they want? If they say no, it lets them go. If they say yes, then it sends them to reschedule. Pretty straightforward. Same thing as it's like it's been for a lot of this. One of our final workflows here, the status update. This is one of the ones that the AI I added in is going to update at the end. It's that last workflow that's going to be updated. This allows the AI to sort of tell where the conversation left off, and you as the salesperson or manager of your team can now look at someone and say, hey, this is it. And this is just at the very top by their name. It just says what their status. It's super easy, straightforward. If they're lead demo, wherever they're left off at, it's going to mark them as such. If for some reason they're not tagged, it's going to wait 24 hours and then try and find it again. Because again, maybe for some reason they're still engaging with the bot or for whatever didn't happen. It always updates it. So I'm not really sure what that would be, but I just like to put fallbacks in there just in case. Then the last flow is just for any reason, if somebody wanted to schedule an onboarding session and you weren't able to have it done by the bot, here's another flow where you could add them to. They will walk it through. It uses the AI to schedule an onboarding session for them. This is just a fallback in case you needed it anywhere else. I wanted to include this. For any reason, maybe they didn't schedule with the AI or anything. Here's a complete workflow where it schedules it. They're assigned a person, all that different cool stuff. If they schedule, if they don't, same workflow. Let me know if you have any questions. I know this was a long one, went really in depth. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I've enjoyed making this. It's something that we love to do here at Funnel Doc AI. So thanks so much for watching today, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.